In today's busy world, a lack of sleep is worn as a badge of honour. Pulling an all-nighter is a testament to our selfless sacrifice to work, and 13-hour days simply show that we're dedicated to success. But this is not the narrative we should be glorifying. Sleep is a basic and necessary process that demands to be satisfied, just like our need for food and drink. Yet, on any night, up to 40% of us have insufficient sleep. Even minor sleep disturbances increase our risk for heart disease, depression, and early death. Despite decades of science telling us that sleep is the foundation from which everything else flows, creativity, performance, health, and sanity, sleep is not getting the attention it so rightly deserves. This is where my PhD research comes in. For the past 5 years of being a sleep researcher, I've been looking at how attention to negativity affects our sleep and developing a new approach to improve our sleep. Today, I'll be telling you about what we've found and what it means for you. I've always been a self-confessed sleep enthusiast. I love sleep. As a child, my parents never had to worry. By age 4, I'd put myself to bed, drift off into a restful slumber, and wake up raring to go. My teens were much the same. That was until one day, I arrived at work for the morning shift, only to realise that I was already out of energy. This happened time and time again. I went to the doctor, but all the tests said I was fine. I wasn't fine though. Sleep was affecting my life, and I didn't know what to do. I was frustrated, so I went back to the doctor again. This time, we talked about how I felt. I was exhausted, constantly on edge with a hair-trigger temper, and my usual bright personality had turned into a dull flatness. The doctor said that lack of sleep was affecting every single aspect of my life, and it was causing me to slip into a severe depression. With proper support, my sleep gradually returned to normal. I felt better than ever, and I was so relieved, but I was also so desperate to avoid slipping back to where I was before. I knew that I had to understand why poor sleep happens and find solutions. While there are many biological causes of poor sleep, sometimes the biggest causes are psychological processes that happen outside of our awareness. Each day we are bombarded by thousands of pieces of information, but our brains do not have the resources to pay attention to everything. One type of information the brain is particularly hardwired to pay attention to is negative information, a phenomenon called attentional bias-negativity. In our caveman days, being alert for negativity helped us keep safe from predators. Today, thinking about all the things that could go wrong in an upcoming exam could give us the extra push needed to study that little bit extra. However, attentional bias-negativity can also work against us by producing worry that really causes us not to sleep. To demonstrate how this works, I need you to think about a big event in your future. It could be a deadline, an interview, or even a big pressure public talk. Now, it's the night before and you're in bed. Most of you will fall asleep in the time just when it takes to boil an egg. Others won't be so lucky and will find it difficult to wind down. Instead, they will lie awake while their brain reminds them of all the ways that they're going to stuff up tomorrow. The next day, you're a bit groggy, but everything goes fine and off without a hitch. Those people who found it difficult to wind down the night before will go straight back into their normal sleep routine. But about 2 in 10 won't. They'll find that their attention is still captured by negativity, and they'll lie awake worrying about anything and everything. Over time, their attention will unconsciously shift to worrying exclusively about sleep. This is what happened to one person in my research, Paul. Paul was putting in long hours at work to meet a deadline, and he wasn't getting much sleep in the process. He met the deadline, and he felt much more relaxed afterwards, but he still found he couldn't get back into his normal sleep routine. He said to me, "I tried everything. I try so hard to sleep. Everybody else makes it so easy. Why is it just me?" While Paul may have believed that his focus on sleep was helpful, it was likely having the exact opposite effect, causing more stress and a vicious cycle of sleeplessness. I've conducted research with hundreds of people just like Paul, investigating the potential benefits of a new approach that seeks to disrupt the cycle of sleeplessness before it even has a chance to start. This approach is called Attentional Bias-Modification. Unlike traditional talking therapies, attentional bias modification doesn't require any conscious alteration of thinking and behaviour. Instead, it involves shifting our attention away from negativity using simple computer tasks that you can complete in your own home. The way it works is like this. 2 words flash up on a screen. One that is negative, like the word fatigue, and one that is neutral, like the word chair. A split second later, they disappear and are replaced by 2 dots behind the neutral word. People respond as to whether the 2 dots are arranged horizontally or vertically. Over several hundred trials, the aim is to get people looking at the neutral word and snap their attention away from the negative word, conditioning the brain to pay less attention to negativity. I wanted to know, could modifying people's attention in the moments just before they go to sleep actually improve their sleep? In the first study, we asked university students to complete the attentional bias modification task before bed and a sleep diary for 6 days. What they didn't know is that on every second night, instead of completing the training task, they completed a task that didn't train their attention. We found that on nights that they completed the training task, they had less worry and fell asleep up to 30 minutes faster compared to those nights when they did not complete the task. These results far exceeded our expectations, so we conducted the same study again just to see whether this was a fluke. Once again, people who completed the training task said they had less worry and fell asleep faster. These results suggest to us that modifying our bias to negativity modifies the worry that we experience just before bed and keeps us up at night and helps us achieve a much needed rest. My vision is of a world where everyone has the opportunity for good sleep. Our research represents a crucial first step towards achieving this, paving the way for a novel intervention for poor sleep that can get results and change lives within only a few minutes. This is amazing. You can apply, for now, the principles of attentional bias modification to your own lives in a few different ways. First, avoid looking at social media or emails at night if you find it stressful. Second, create a relaxing nighttime ritual, like listening to calming music. And third, when you're in bed, don't be tempted to look at the alarm clock and count down the hours until you have to get back up. I know you do this. The aim is to engage in any behaviour that redirects your attention away from negative information and worry. In today's busy world, we need more than ever to think of poor sleep not as a badge of honour, but as a serious and profound lack of priority. I know that if I did not put sleep front and centre and give it the attention it deserves, that I would not be with you here today doing the things that make me happy and healthy after recovering from depression. Sleep is amazing, and I am proud to call myself a sleep enthusiast.